All right, good evening and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Lunenburg Municipal Building Design Committee. Let me pull up the standard language here. Remind me later. All right. In accordance with the requirements of the open meeting law, and Matt, I'm just going to mute you for a second. In accordance with the requirements of open meeting law, please be advised that this meeting is being recorded and broadcast or will be broadcast over the Lunenburg Public Access channel. The recording of this meeting will be available on the Lunenburg Public Access YouTube channel within 24 hours. The agenda lists all the topics which may be discussed at this meeting and are those reasonably anticipated by the chair. Votes may be taken as a result of these discussions. Not all items listed may in fact be discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by the open meeting law. Public participation is encouraged, and public comments may be welcome during committee member discussions at the discretion of the chair. All right, so good evening, everyone. Again, recanting or not restating who's here with us. We have Mr. Roy, Mr. Allison, Mr. Leighton, Mr. Gray, and myself, Michael Ray Jeffries. So this is a very brief meeting this evening. We are going to lose some members here at 6 o'clock, so we know that for about 20 minutes here, we're going to crank through looking at some space needs stuff. So what I'm going to do tonight is share my full screen. I am on a, just so you guys know this, I do have a larger screen, so I'm not sure how it's going to come over once I share it. So let me get out of some emails here that I have in the background, and that way I can pull this up side by side. So what you're going to be looking at are two documents. One document on the left, that as you'll see it here in a moment, is the document that is the space needs analysis that was done previously. And what you're going to see on the right is the revision that we're going through now, the simplified version that we're trying to give over to Taylor and Burns once they're brought under agreement. All right. But before we get going though, let me start with any public comments. Do we have any public comments this evening from the public? Seeing none, do we have any from the board? Seeing none, and I don't see our APD rep with us, so we're gonna go ahead and share the screen. So again, this is gonna be my full screen, which hopefully I can do this right. Well, let's see. It's not letting me share my full screen. It's only going to give me an option. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and share the space needs screen. Okay. So you guys should be able to see the space needs screen. So what I've done, and I'm going to stop sharing just so you can see the document that I'm actually working off of here, and then we're going to go right back to that one. So the document I'm actually working off here, you can see it now. It's taking all the data, treasure, as we go through it, putting down the number of staff and then the proposed square footage. So just cleaning it up to make it a little cleaner to read. That's really all that we're doing, and then math adding to make sure that we are correct. All right, so you guys know I'm working on this one. This is what I'm actually typing. So let me stop and go back over to what we're looking at here, which is space needs. All right, so we're just going to talk through this. So as we recall, we did all this work with Giorgio. And so what we did in that process was identified the square footage that's called out by standard calculations. And the actual column is referring to kind of when they were plugging in based on the space available at TCP. So let's just work through this and make sure that we're still accurate and correct. So first is the treasurer tax collector. So again, we're looking, if I can highlight, we're really looking at column M on your screen. It's going to be the same as J, or should be pretty close to J. So we're looking at J and M over here, but really M. So what we're trying to identify is literally, we're not trying to redo this. We're just making sure that there aren't any errors here that we need to account for. So for treasurer tax collector, we're showing tax collector, one person at 175 square feet. The assistant, the accountant and assistant, I need to word this differently. The assistant treasurer and we're calling this the transaction counter. That is 100 square feet. And then we have the accounting clerk, that's one person, 100 square feet. We have record storage at 175 square feet. And then we have a transaction counter. Everywhere in here, we have transaction counter as 35 square feet. And so I'm just adding that into the office square footage for the person that has that counter. So that way this number will say 135. And so again, reading that, do we have any changes here? Is all this correct as far as we know? All right, we're going to keep cranking here. Assessor's office. We have a principal assessor. And what this notes is for the assessor's office, administrative assistant and clerk. And that's 2 people, 280 square feet. And let me make sure I'm looking at this correctly. And it's a data collector is what I know it is. So it's an admin assistant. It's a data collector. With a transaction counter. So that was calling for 280 plus the 35. That's 315 for 2 people. We have the principal assessor, 1 person at 120. And then we have record storage at 180. All right. For the town manager, and I might need to come back to this one. Actually, we'll come back to town manager. Building department. We have the building commissioner in here, 1 person at 160. We have the admin assistant or the ZBA clerk, 1 person at 140. I see a transaction counter down below, and so I'm bumping this to 175. We have the assistant building inspector at 140. We have record storage at 195, and that transaction counter has been accounted for. For the Board of Health, we have director and health agent with the transaction counter. So director, health agent with transaction counter 285. We have record storage at 100. All right. For conservation, we have conservation administrator with transaction counter 240. So I need to bump that to 275. We have conservation agent at 100. And I don't see any record storage. So historical commission, this is coming up underneath conservation.
Michael Ray,
Yes.
Greg Roy here. I think that the Conservation Commission has record storage requirements.
I think so too. And they don't have a conservation administrator and an agent. They only have 1 person.
No, they have 2 people now, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So I think we may need to address that. They have they have 2 people in there that they're both part, they're not 1, they're probably 0.75 and 0.5.
Yeah.
But they do have 2 people that would need unique spaces.
Okay.
And they probably need record storage. I don't know why we
Why they didn't make it?
I'm not sure why that didn't make it. Maybe they were going to co-locate with someone else. I don't remember. But
If I may, I suspect that the person that would be saying what they needed probably wasn't either filled the position or wasn't available at that time, or they just overlooked that they're not going to continue to have the upstairs in the Ritter, because I think that's what they use.
yeah. So to be clear, 240 square feet seems like enough for 2 people. You just might want to add a little bit of, maybe add 50 square feet or something for record storage or something. Just to
All
cover
right.
it.
So I'm going to call this conservation administrator and agent.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, and then record storage, it noted 100, and so I'll keep that 100 figure in there. It's also
Okay.
calling out a historical commission office. 140 square feet.
I'm not aware that they have an office right now.
They don't.
Okay.
They don't. All right, I'm gonna flag this one. Change the cell code to yellow. I'm gonna flag that one. Accounting, we have, and there's two kind of accounting sections. Well, not really, it's accounting, and then also right now our accounting and treasurer collector are all together. So this is just separating it. All right, so for accounting, our town accountant, we have 175 square feet. Accounts payable clerk, 100 square feet. We have a payroll benefits clerk, 175 square feet, and then record storage, 100. I know the accounts payroll clerk, that 175 includes some record storage. So that's it for there. Information technology. We have IT director, 200 square feet, IT staff, 200 square feet, IT equipment, 100 square feet, total of 500. Planning department. We have land use director, 140 square feet. We have administrative assistant, which is 415 square feet. I'm accounting for the counter, so that puts me at 440. Well, no, I'm sorry, my math is off here. That puts me at 450. We also have record and plan storage, 135 square feet. And then we call out a ZBA office for 175 square feet.
Yeah, I don't think we need that because I think that's in the building department office. I think that is Lisa Normandin. That would be the
Yep.
under building department. If you scroll up,
Yep.
Building department admin assistant, ZBA administrator.
Yep.
I think we've double dipped there.
All right, we comfortable with deleting? I'm gonna flag it for now. I'm gonna flag it. All right, because I do believe, as I recall in the conversation, this may have been future proof
That could be, but
for these two offices.
Yeah.
All right, town clerk. We have the town clerk office, 175, assistant town clerk at 100, registrar of voters at 400 square feet, record storage at 100, and then we have a vault at 165. We're also calling out other offices, which are the select board or select min office. So let me go back to town clerk. I'm sorry, town manager, and let me plug that in. So I'm going to do a little bit more typing here. Off screen. All right, so within the town manager, it's calling for 190 square feet. Within the assistant, town manager slash HR. That's calling for 160 square feet. We have the executive assistant. With transaction counter. That's one person, so 140, 175. We put in a conference room at 180, and then we put in record storage. And the record storage there was 140. All right. So further down, we have in other offices, we have select board office. I don't think we need a select board office personally. And I remember arguing that we did on the front end of this, but I don't think we do. not to build space for it. And then we have the Veterans Affairs Office, which we currently have, that's 170 square feet. We have the State Rep Office, they rent, that's 175 square feet. And then it's a sub waiting room for veterans. That's a nice to have when you have the space, but I mean, that office is only used like 1 or 2 days a week anyway.
I have a question on that.
Yeah,
Aren't the Veterans Affairs in the Eagle House? Or they move?
they previously were, but they do have the Veterans Affairs office they do have an office in the Ritter building.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, my personal opinion on that, even if they're can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it's a 1-2 day a week thing, let's carve out a space for the veterans. I'd rather not, put that on the back burner. I think it's pretty important. So I'm not a veteran, but I know a lot of them. And I just
Hey, I'm one of them. I think it's helpful to have it. What do you think about this selectman office that we have here?
Hey, if I had that
Nice to
question,
have.
if I had that question, I would ask you.
I think it's a nice to have. We meet with people over the
Do we have a
phone.
conference? I can't remember. Do what you said. Do we have a conference room in the yeah, so
We do. Yeah, I
seems like
think
you could occupy a table for a couple hours when you're in there trying to hammer out something.
yep. All right. Let me do a quick total on where we're at for square footage here. We are at 6,850 square feet. And I think our goal was 5,000. And we haven't talked about PAC. So, who did I accidentally include here? No one? All right, good. All right. So I'm going to keep going here. I'm just going to make more columns here. Let's go hit the school department real quick. All right. So we have school, district, offices. All right. So first, let's see. We have the superintendent's office. And that calls for 150 square feet. I want to know why the town manager is at 190, but the superintendent is at 150. All right, we'll keep going. I think there's gonna be some movement on these numbers. The executive assistant, and I'm guessing transaction counter. We only call for 100 square feet. We have a no conference room. We have the special service director. At THES, and that's one person at 150 square feet. We have special service executive assistants. And we have two people at 200 square feet. We have the special services storage students. This is one no people, sorry. And that's calling for 200 square feet. We have the HR business manager. That's calling for 120 square feet. We have the database manager. That's calling for 100 square feet. We have the food service manager. That's calling for 100 square feet. Brian, I might need your help understanding some of this. Title I office does not, looks like it's a person. Is that right?
Yeah, I would assume that would be the Title I director.
Title I director. They have 100 square feet. Director of Teaching and Learning.
Yeah, that's a position.
One person at 120 square feet. We have Director of Facilities. That's one person at 100 square feet. School storage or record. One person or no people, and that is calling for 200 square feet. All right. And then we have the ACE program. So let's get into those details. ACE program. And they're calling it out as 1,000 square feet, but there's notes here about a kitchen. And then we have a school link service director. And that person doesn't look like, I know that isn't that the same person as the one of the special service people?
I'm
I
not,
don't see any office space for them.
yeah, but it could be under the school linked services, the preschool program.
All right. All right. We're not accounting, just so I'm clear, we're not accounting for extended day. How many of these programs, Brian, Community Link, Early Learning Center, these weren't moving with school offices, correct?
I believe not. Yeah, I believe they were going to go back to the schools.
Okay. So
Was
the question is,
that wasn't going to
the
go in the Ritter building.
School Link Service Director. And what exactly is that entails?
She runs the school link services, so it's going to be all those programs like the extended day.
Okay. If you can get some clarification on that one, Brian, that'd be helpful. And let me just make a note on the ACE program. And it's kitchen and bathroom. Kitchen and office. All right, as we're going through this, I do see that we did forget about facility manager on the town side. So I'm gonna put that, even though it's not, I'll just put it as a standalone facility manager. And then we also have a rec director.
Would the facilities director of the town work out of the DPW, or would it make sense to be out of the town hall?
Currently, they're out of Ritter Building right now. And I think the idea is that they're not with DPW, that they're more with the other departments.
Thanks.
All right.
I would mention the rec director, though. I believe they work under Parks, and Parks meets at DPW.
Yeah, the current rec director is also the current rec director also works out of the Ritter Building. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing this and switch over to the other document. And then I know we got to head out here, so let me just switch over to this document. All right. So I plugged in all of the data that we just went through. And what we have for total square footage for this, what we're calling the annex or addition, is 7,090 square feet. What we have for school district offices is 2,675 square feet. Something to note is bathrooms and break rooms. So bathrooms and break rooms are going to add to this. So I think that what this kind of identifies is that at Ritter Building, we have a lot more square footage. And so we might want to think about in this process at our next meeting, we might want to think about what are some of those kind of common, in other words, we got about 6,000 square feet to work with. For Ritter, what we just programmed in is about 265. So a couple of questions to Brian. I'm going to email this out. Can you verify with the school district that this is accurate information? So I'll email it out that we're accounting properly for everyone that came out of that process. And then I think that as we kind of design this, we're not, we roughly we have 3,000 more square feet here to work with. But again, we have bathrooms, break rooms, and then we have some that we need to shave off here. So I would assume that there's going to be certain features that might be in Ritter. Maybe some of these occasional offices that we can talk about that at a future point because we're running out of time here. Any initial thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is a good start. I think we can expect that the architect will have some creative ideas for how we can manage this. The only other thing I wanted to say is I want to revisit the storage. Are we talking about, did we just take the square footage of conventional 4-foot high file cabinets and drop them on a floor, or are we thinking creatively about how we can use vertical space for files and things? So I feel like, maybe we need to do a field trip to the various offices and actually measure the linear footage of shelf space they need and see if there's other creative options that we can do. And I think that might be something that we could do in-house, and get a good data point over to the architects to see if they can come up with some creative storage solutions. So that's it.
All right.
I've got another point.
What was that?
I've got another point. So if we redo town hall, the basement's no longer going to be useless. That was where we had record storage before. So that might, I don't know if that's being accounted for or not, but that's a large area.
Are you saying the basement of town hall?
Yes. If we redo town hall, that will probably be revamped and usable, wouldn't it?
It would. Yeah. I would assume it may. Yeah. Okay. So next steps then, Greg, if you and I can touch base and kind of tag team, not today, but tag team how we can go about really verifying those storage numbers. Again, I know that DeGiorgio met with all of the departments, but I do agree that this seems to be accounting for file cabinets and not vertical storage.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I'd love to do that. I'm happy to do that. Yeah. Carve out a few hours, go around with a tape measure and come up with some real numbers.
All right. Is everyone comfortable if Greg and I kind of take point on that? All right. I know we have other meetings everyone needs to get to. 6 o'clock. All right. So that's a good point. So I will add in the, we don't really need to add in the conference room data because it's going to be based on what is at the town hall. So I'm going to take another look at this, make sure I didn't make any mistakes, and then I will be sure to get this out prior to our next meeting. And as you heard at the very beginning, I'm still working through the Zoom stuff to make sure we have the right link. All right. We are at time. Perfect. Any final comments, anyone? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn at 6:01 p.m.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion to adjourn 6:01. Roll call vote. Aye for myself, Mr. Allison. He just dropped, so Mr. Gray.
Yes.
Mr. Leighton.
Yes.
And Mr. Roy.
Aye.
All right, thank you guys. I appreciate the quick meeting. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
All right.